So you get nothing. You lose. Good day, sir.
45 points should have been enough to win this game. 45 points should be enough to win any college football game that you play. 45 points didn't cut the mustard. Yeah, almost a Houdini comeback for the Sooners. Defense played a little bit better in the fourth quarter. It's not enough. Texas wins what's probably going to be known as one of the greatest OU-Texas games of all time, 48-45. And it was one hell of a game, first of all. Okay, I'm not going to deny that this game didn't have drama. I'm not going to say the game didn't have excitement. But when your team loses, it's a stinging loss. It's devastating. I know there's going to be quite a few Texas fans who do subscribe to my blogs that will have some interesting choice words. Bring the comments on, fine. Congratulations to your team. They deserve it. For the Sooners, this defense is an embarrassment. And this defense has a difficult time playing good team football. And I'm not saying this as a result of the final 3 points that Oklahoma gave up, in which Texas drove it down the field with about 4 minutes to go to set themselves up for the game winner. I'm not talking about those 3 points that the Sooner defense gave up. I'm talking about the 45 points that they gave up in the first 3 quarters. Touchdown, field goal, touchdown, touchdown in the first half is what Texas got on those 4 possessions. Texas, out of 4 possessions in the third quarter, got 3 touchdowns. And by the way, if you are looking for me to throw things, if you're looking for me to just act the fool, to curse, to scream at the top of my vocal cords, if you're looking for something like that, go watch Jerry Springer, okay? It's not going to be on this video, all right? I do not have the means. I do not have the energy, and I don't have the voice practically to do that, okay? It's not going to do any bit of good. The thing that makes me the most mad about the Sooner defense, yeah, you could say it's the fact that they get dominated at the line of scrimmage like Army did, like we saw Texas do for the most part in this game. And there were signs that this game was going to be trouble for OU, and maybe I didn't quite see that from the OU defensive perspective. We saw that against Iowa State. We saw that against Army. And even in the win last week of 33 points, the Sooners still gave up a lot of points and still gave up a lot of yardage, 400 yards passing to Charlie Brewer. Today, the Sooners gave up well over 400 yards of total offense. And I do commend Sam Ehlinger. This was a great quarterback battle, and both quarterbacks were terrific. But the big difference between Ehlinger and Kylar Murray was Ehlinger did not make turnovers. He did not turn the ball over. In fact, I think he completed over 70% of his passes. He was efficient running the ball, and he was certainly efficient in decision-making throwing it. He had command of the offense, and so did the Texas offensive line. It's not just the fact that the Sooners have issues covering. And believe me, early on, Texas picked on Parmel Motley like Roy Clark picks on the film. It's not just the fact that, Texas, had running success in this game. To me, the most disturbing part about this Oklahoma defense, what makes it so embarrassing, and it still is not going to get fixed, and quite frankly, I don't think it's ever going to get fixed, is yards after contact. It's one thing, okay, if you are in position to make a tackle, okay, and you make it. It's another completely thing, another bad thing when you are trying to make a tackle at a particular part of the field, and then the ball carrier is still going 5, 6, 7 yards later. We saw that way too much. Way too much. This falls on the entire Oklahoma defense, this loss. And people, again, if the Fire Mike Stoops chants weren't loud enough before, you can hear them from Dallas right now. It wasn't just a bad defensive game for Mike Stoops. And I say this because when you got the defense, when you have Texas offense at 3rd and 20, and you only rush 3 guys, yeah, Texas may not get the first down, but Texas is going to say, okay, we're going to get most of this, and on 4th down, we're going to get the first down, and that's what happened. Texas, on 4th down, they were unpredictable. You didn't know what they were going to do, and that's why they kept critical drives going on 4th down. Tom Herman had the better day over Lincoln Riley. But like I said, the most disappointing thing for this Oklahoma defense is the fact that at times they were able to meet the ball carrier maybe at the 30, but then the play wouldn't be over until 5 yards later at the 35. Making it 4th and short rather than 4th and long, or 3rd and short rather than 3rd and long. Changing the play calling and keeping the momentum for the first 3 quarters on the Texas offensive side. Now, the Oklahoma offense, they're not without blame either, okay? I know they put 45 points on the board. And moving the ball was no problem, okay? But it comes down to one thing, execution, and the Sooners didn't always show it. A critical mistake that Kylar Murray made, even though he had one hell of a game and was the biggest reason why Oklahoma got back into this game, had some interesting decision-making. Interesting as in bad. It was 7-7. Midway through the first quarter, OU's driving in Texas territory, holding call. And by the way, the offensive line, I thought played well, but the holding calls were devastating, including the very first one, which meant it was going to be 2nd and 20. And rather for OU than try to get a good chunk of that yardage back by running, because they were able to run on that Texas defense. Kylar Murray decides to get greedy and go for the big one against 6 defensive backs and never sees the deep safety and gets picked. And then Murray had a very costly turnover in the 3rd quarter when Oklahoma finally made a stop and an unforced fumble, which led to Texas points. That was the thing. Texas didn't make those turnovers. Oklahoma had 2 turnovers, cashed in to 10 points, which made so much of an impact and so much of a difference in this game. OU was able to move the ball. That was not the issue, but execution was. Having said that, though, I would say at least 80% of the blame for this game goes on the defense, because 45 points should have been enough to win this game. Last year, Oklahoma had 31 points and won. 45 should have been enough to seal the deal. And the fact that your defense just isn't good at football, yeah, if this loss for the Sooners does not take them out of the college football playoff running, it certainly puts their hopes on life support. We saw last year after Iowa State, we saw that the Sooners were able to bounce back from that. Because you never want to say never. But as far as the Big 12, Sooners may have to run the table to try to get to the Big 12 championship game. And you still got T.C.U. on the road at Texas Tech. Got Oklahoma State. You never know what the Cowboys will bring, and it's a rivalry game. And you got to go to West Virginia to close the thing out as far as the regular season. You never want to say it's over. But for these next 14 days, because remember the Sooners don't play next week, it's going to be HE double hockey sticks. Going to be hell for this Oklahoma team to try to regroup, because it is one of those feelings like somebody just kicked you in the gut. And that feeling doesn't go away for a couple of weeks. Sooners can't prove themselves again until October 20th. And they won't be back at home, by the way, until 4 days before Halloween when they play Kansas State in Norman. That's 3 weeks away. So naturally, it's not the best feeling right now if you are a Sooner fan, if you're a Sooner player, Sooner coach, Sooner anything. You give credit to Texas. And by the way, this win for Texas, not just big as far as the rivalry goes, not just big as far as the standings in the Big 12. This one is big as far as recruiting as well. Both Lincoln Riley and Tom Herman, they are top-notch recruiters. You don't think Texas won themselves a recruiter 2 or 3 as a result of today's game? If you don't think so, you're kidding yourself. You're absolutely kidding yourself. Both teams already have terrific recruiting classes coming in for 2019 and 2020. Now imagine the result of this game, you know, how the pendulum now swings even further toward the Texas side. Sooners nearly pull off a Houdini in the 4th quarter, but this game is proof that you can't just turn it on in 1 quarter and think that's going to be enough. 45 points should have been enough to win this game. Hell, 38 points should have been enough to win this game. And last year, 31 points was enough. But this defense, even though they came up with some nice stops in the 4th quarter, they were too undependable in the 3rd, and of course, undependable on that final Texas drive. So, congrats to the Longhorns. They deserved it. They earned it. They won it, 48-45. Just a reminder, no weekly matchup show next week because OU doesn't play. Texas will host Baylor next Saturday. My 3 picks, it's going to be a special edition of My 3 Picks. So come back, I would say Friday, October the 12th, to check out My 3 Picks. It's going to be a special show. You won't want to miss it. 48-45. Oklahoma's come back. Well, ball short. Congratulations to Texas. And Oklahoma's going to have to pick themselves up from the canvas if they want the rest of this particular season to be memorable for all the right reasons. Boomer Sooner.